Hi, welcome back to my channel. So I'm just about to do a workout and I'm gonna vlog myself today with Ezra. So come along and join me. So I'm just making myself a coffee. I fast in the morning, so I generally don't eat breakfast until later on. I will try and get a walk in or a workout in first, just so that way my body can kickstart its calorie burn for the day. So I have a coffee and I'll probably just have some fruit toast. I'm going to sit down and give him his morning feed, so his second morning feed. It's 10:15 at the moment, so I'll sit down and do that. And I'm also going to do some baking today, so I will also film that and I'll pop the recipe down below for you guys. I'm going to make probably some bread rolls. I'm going to try and make for the first time, some berry bites, and hopefully an oat raspberry breakfast bar. So I'll leave that below. I also use my Thermomix when I cook, but you can do the parts I do in the Thermomix in like a normal mixer as well. Just finished feeding Ezra, so I'm just going to go brush my teeth now, and then we'll go and start some baking. But before I bake, I've got to clean the kitchen up, so I'll do that first. So I just brushed my teeth, moisturised now. Now I've just got to go clean the kitchen up. It is a little bit of a mess at the moment. I've got little Ezra on the floor as well. So just tidy it up and get ready to do some baking. So sorry about the buzzing. Ezra's just asleep in his little bouncer on the floor. So I've just left him there because if I move him, he will more likely wake up. So today I'm going to make blueberry breakfast buns, some raspberry oat breakfast bar, and a sweet and soft buns. So I'm just going to go ahead and get all the ingredients out. Now I just moved my Thermomix over here just so it's easier to see. But what I do in here, you can just do in a normal like KitchenAid stand mixer, anything like that. So I'm just trying to get some bread rolls and stuff in the fridge for snacks. So I'm just going to go ahead and get all the ingredients out. So I'm going to do the brekkie blueberry bites dough first, because that takes overnight to rise and everything like that. So I'm going to get that done, so then that's set aside, and then I'll finish that off tomorrow morning and I'll film tomorrow morning for you guys. So let's start with that. We've just got Ezra just over there, just behind me, so I can see him as well, and I'm not going to trip over the bouncer. we're just measuring out the sugar, which is your first ingredients for this. So you add 110 grams or a half a cup of sugar. With my Thermomix, it has built-in scales, so I'm just using the scales within the Thermomix. Then we add 2 teaspoons of the dried yeast. You can also use fresh yeast if you'd like. You'd use about 20 grams of fresh yeast to that. And then to this now we're going to add in 2 eggs, whole eggs into the mix, and then we'll add in milk, and the milk is about 100 mils of milk, or if you're using weights, it's 100 grams. Mils and grams weigh the same, so if you're looking at 10 grams, you're going to be 10 mils of liquid. Once we've added the milk, eggs and sugar and yeast together, we're going to turn the Thermomix on and mix it for 3 minutes on a low speed, and the Thermomix also has heating within it too, so it will also warm it. If you don't have a Thermomix, what you can do is you can use a double boiler, add all your ingredients in, whisk it up for about 3 minutes. You only want it to be warm, just so the sugar and the yeast can activate together, and then that way you get your nice fluffy dough. So now my Thermomix has finished mixing it and heating it. Now we're going to add our flour to it. So our baker's flour, we're using 1.5 cups. Convert that to grams, it's about 370 grams of baking flour. And you also want to keep your flour out at the end because you're going to need it for dusting as well on the bench when you're rolling out your dough. So now we've added the flour to it, we're going to add in our butter. We're adding 50 grams of butter. We use Nutflex as an alternative to cut out the amount of fat. Once the butter's added in, we're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla essence or vanilla extract and a pinch of salt. And while that mixes together, we're going to make the blueberry and raspberry filling. You can use whatever frozen fruit you'd like or fresh fruit. You want about 200 grams of each fruit or berry. Today I'm using blueberry and raspberry, and then to that we're going to add in a tablespoon of flour and a tablespoon of sugar. You can add rice malt syrup to this if you want to substitute out your refined sugar to a more natural sugar. So the Thermomix has just finished kneading the dough, so it kneads the dough for about 3 minutes. If you don't have a Thermomix, you can do that kneading in your KitchenAid with a dough hook, or just knead it out on your bench, but you have to knead for longer if you don't have a machine kneading it. So add about double the time on, so add another 3 minutes to it. So now I'm just transferring the dough out of the Thermomix into a container for it to rise overnight. I set this aside either in our spare bedroom where it's warmer because it's winter here in Melbourne, or I'm going to leave it in the oven overnight. The oven will be turned off. It's just a confined smaller space so you don't have all the cold air circulating around it, and then it will double in size overnight.
So now we're moving on to our raspberry oat slice. To start off, we're going to weigh out 1 cup of plain flour, which is 150 grams if you're weighing it. Then to that, we're going to add half a cup or 50 grams of baking flour or wholemeal flour. Then to that, we're also going to add 3/4 of a cup of oats or 75 grams of oats. Then we're also going to be adding in caster sugar, which is 3/4 of a cup or 75 grams as well. You can add more, it's just depending on your taste, or you can add less as well. Then we're going to add 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/4 of a teaspoon of sea salt or a pinch. So we're going to mix all those dry ingredients together just for about a minute or so until they're all combined. Then to that, we're going to add our wet ingredients. So while we're doing this, the oven should also be on, preheating to 200 degrees. I'll pop up on the screen for you guys here now the conversion to Fahrenheit. Now we're going to be adding in our milk. I'm going to be using almond milk just to have it a bit more dairy free. Now you can use normal milk to this if you want. So in total our milk would be 170 mils. And then we also want to add in about 50 grams or 1/2 cup of plain yogurt. I'm using coconut yogurt here just because I'm leaving out the dairy in this. Now we're adding our 1 large egg to this, and we're going to then add a tablespoon of corn flour. Then what you want to do is mix that all together so it's all combined, and then we want to fold through our frozen raspberries, which is about 1 cup of raspberries or 175 grams. So here is what the mixture should look like once the raspberries are all folded through. Now we're going to line out a baking tray, and this will go in the oven and bake for 20 minutes or until golden.
My camera battery died after I put the raspberry oatmeal bar slice in the oven. So I've just fed Ezra and I'm going to go ahead and make the bread rolls now. This is the oat slice, raspberry oat slice that I made. So I've got to slice that up and portion it out. I'll probably get about hopefully 12 to 16 out of that. I'm only going to make them like squares. Just as a little healthy snack that we can have, or moderately healthy, it's not super healthy. So I'm just going to go ahead and start the bread rolls now. I've already put all the ingredients away before, so I've already got the bread roll ingredients out. So we'll start that, and I'm just going to put Ezra in his bouncer.
Now we're moving on to the sweet soft bread rolls. So to start with, we want to measure out 300 mils of lukewarm water. Then to that we want to add 2 teaspoons of our dry yeast or 10 grams of yeast powder, 20 grams of fresh yeast. Then to that we will add our 60 grams of sugar or 1/2 cup. Then we also want to add 60 grams of salted butter cut into cubes. So with the Thermomix, as I said before, it does heat, so I'm going to do everything like this. What I do here, you can do on a saucepan on the stovetop over a low heat. So you want to mix until the butter is melted for about 2 minutes. You just want to slowly mix and stir, and then that way everything gets integrated together.
So he doesn't want to sit in his swing, so I'm having to hold him.
Now that the butter has melted and everything is combined, we're going to be adding our protein flour into it. So you want to add, which is basically baker's flour, 1.5 cups or 400 grams of baker's flour. Then you also want to add to that 2/3 of a cup of plain flour or 100 grams of plain flour and a teaspoon of salt. We need that together for 5 minutes if you have a Thermomix or a KitchenAid dough hook stand. If you don't, double the time, so knead for 10 minutes on a floured surface. Once you have finished kneading your dough, you want to put that into an oiled bowl. As you saw me earlier, I was just oiling up a silver bowl. So we leave that in there for about 30 minutes to 45 minutes, or until the dough has doubled in size. The timing is going to be in temperament to your temperature of your house. Once the dough has doubled in size, you want to roll it out on a floured surface, as you can see me doing here. Then what we're going to do is divide it up into our bread rolls, and then what you're going to do is pinch each sides to the bottom and then make the top taut and round, so then you get nice even sized bread rolls when they are baking.
So just while the bread rolls go and prove, I'm going to go ahead and make dinner. So tonight we're just having pasta bakes, so nice and easy. So I've just got my water on boiling. In the pan I'll put some minced onion, garlic, tomato or passata sauce and some herbs. And a zucchini in there as well, just for a bit of extra veg. And then the pasta, and then I just chuck it in the tray with some cheese on top and my pasta bake. Nice, easy, simple. And then I'm also going to bath Ezra and have a shower myself. my shower and Ezra's bath, just been chilling on the floor with him. I've also cooked dinner and the bread rolls have proven, so I'll just show you the bread rolls. So that's the bread rolls, they've doubled in size. So they are ready to go into the oven now, so they will bake in the oven for, oh look at that one. So they're going to bake in the oven for 15 to 20 minutes on 170 degrees. And that one there is the pasta bake. I will pop that in the oven once my husband gets home when he's in the shower, because that only needs to go in for 15 minutes just to golden up on the top. And that's it. And then I'm also going to try these ear wicking candles tonight. My husband did them last week or something. I'm going to give them a go as well, because my ears have been irritating me the last couple of days, like really itchy. So I'll let you guys know tomorrow morning how they are. And I'll show you the bread rolls once they're finished baking as well.